Higher education is getting squeezed from a lot of directions right now. On one side, employers say they can't find qualified talent. On another, plenty of graduates say they're having a hard time landing work that actually matches what they studied. And in the middle are students and families asking a pretty reasonable question: if college is this expensive, what am I getting on the other end? At the same time, there's a real fear bubbling up in academic circles. If we obsess over jobs and salaries, do we risk turning college into narrow job training? Do we lose the bigger goals of higher education, like critical thinking, civic engagement, creativity, and intellectual growth? Here's the key idea for today: that tension is often framed like an either-or choice, but it doesn't have to be. Preparing students for careers and delivering a rigorous, broad education can reinforce each other. In fact, many of the qualities employers keep asking for, solving messy problems, communicating clearly, making ethical decisions, adapting to change, are exactly the qualities that strong higher education is supposed to develop. So the real question isn't whether colleges should help students get ready for working life. The question is how to build career preparation into the entire college experience in a way that's sustainable, mission-aligned, and fair to all students, not just the ones who already have connections and financial cushions. That's where a concept called comprehensive workforce alignment comes in. Think of workforce alignment not as a bigger career services office or a few internship options added on the side, but as an institution-wide approach. It means the university treats workforce readiness like an organizing principle that shapes curriculum, advising, co-curricular life, employer partnerships, and how the institution uses data to improve outcomes. In other words, it's not career services will handle it. It's everyone shares the responsibility. Faculty, advisors, student affairs teams, institutional leadership, and external partners all play a role. And ideally, there's a coordinating team that connects the dots so it doesn't become fragmented or uneven. This kind of alignment is showing up for a few big reasons. Student populations are changing: more first-generation students, more adult learners, more people who are explicitly career-focused because they have families, jobs, or financial constraints. Technology is changing work so quickly that skills become outdated faster than they used to. Regions are leaning on colleges as anchor institutions that can strengthen the local economy. And policymakers and accreditors are applying more pressure to demonstrate outcomes, including employment and earnings. Even though lots of institutions say they have a workforce strategy, the depth of implementation varies a lot. Research universities may emphasize academic pathways and implicitly assume students will figure out career translation on their own. Regional universities often have closer ties to local employers and more applied learning baked in. Community colleges, given their mission, frequently integrate workforce development most fully, but they also face resource constraints and regional variability in job opportunities. So what happens when workforce alignment is done well? The evidence points to tangible institutional benefits. One is retention. When students can see a pathway from coursework to a future role, school feels more purposeful. Structured career exploration and work-based learning are associated with meaningful increases in persistence from year 1 to year 2. And those gains can be especially strong for students who don't come in with built-in guidance, first-generation students and many students from underrepresented backgrounds. Employment outcomes also improve when students participate in high-impact experiences that clearly connect to career skills, internships, service learning tied to real problems, capstone projects with external audiences. Studies show high job placement rates within months of graduation and, in many cases, better starting pay. On top of that, institutions benefit reputationally. If you can credibly show outcomes and strong partnerships, you can boost applications, yield, and employer engagement. But the flip side matters too. When institutions ignore career preparation or leave it to chance, there are costs. Enrollment can decline, graduates can carry debt into underemployment, programs can come under scrutiny, and even faculty and alumni relationships can weaken if students feel their education didn't help them launch. For students, the personal impact is huge. Career clarity can reduce anxiety and increase a sense of belonging, because students understand why they are doing what they are doing. And the stakes go beyond the first job. Early career alignment influences earnings and opportunity for years. A strong start tends to compound through better networks, faster skill growth, and access to stronger next step roles. And then there's equity. This is where workforce alignment can either become a powerful engine for social mobility or quietly reinforce existing advantage. Because the reality is, internships and professional opportunities are not evenly accessible. Some students can take unpaid roles because family support makes it possible. Others can't. Some students have networks that open doors. Others are starting from scratch. Geography plays a role too. Being near an employer hub is an advantage. And bias in hiring can still shape who gets selected, mentored, and promoted. A comprehensive approach has to confront that head-on. Equity cannot be an afterthought. It has to be built into the design, financing, and partnership choices. So what does evidence-based workforce alignment actually look like in practice? Let's walk through several pillars, starting with career development across the student life cycle. Many schools unintentionally treat careers like a senior year emergency, resume workshops, interview prep, job postings right before graduation. But effective institutions spread career development across all years. Early engagement matters. First-year students benefit from structured exploration, learning what different fields look like, talking to professionals, doing informational interviews, reflecting on interests and strengths. Then, as students move into sophomore year, short-term experiences like job shadows or project sprints help them test options before committing to internships. By junior year, internships, or more intensive work-based learning can be structured with learning goals and reflection. And in the senior year, capstones can be designed so students demonstrate real competencies, often on authentic problems, sometimes even presenting to external partners. The point is that career readiness develops over time. It's exploration, skill building, practice, and reflection, repeated. And that only works when advising, coursework, and co-curricular life all reinforce the same process. Academic advisors need tools and training to talk about careers with real labor market information, not vague encouragement. Faculty can connect assignments to professional skills and bring in alumni voices. Student life can help students name the transferable skills they gain through leadership, volunteering, and campus jobs. A second pillar is curriculum-embedded workforce competencies. Employers tend to ask for a blend, specialized knowledge and broad capabilities like communication, teamwork, ethical judgment, and problem-solving. One useful move institutions make is to stop assuming students will automatically translate their learning into workplace language. Instead, programs identify key transferable competencies and map where students actually develop them across courses. That mapping exercise often reveals surprises. Maybe teamwork is happening everywhere but never assessed. Maybe leadership is expected but rarely taught. Maybe digital fluency is assumed, even in fields where new tools are reshaping daily work. When departments can see those gaps, they can redesign courses or include experiences that intentionally build and assess those skills. Then there's the student side of the equation, helping students show their work. Some institutions use e-portfolios where students upload projects and write short reflections explaining what the work demonstrates, communication for a specific audience, analysis under constraints, collaboration, project planning, and so on. Done well, this gives employers richer evidence than a standard transcript and helps students tell a clearer story about what they can do. A third pillar is structured employer partnerships and high-quality work-based learning. Not all internships are created equal. Some are transformative learning experiences. Others involve busy work that doesn't build relevant skills and can even deepen inequities if only certain students can afford to take them. A workforce-aligned institution treats work-based learning as an educational experience with standards. That means clear learning objectives, orientation for employers, defined mentorship expectations, and evaluation at multiple points. Institutions can support students with pre-internship preparation, ongoing check-ins, and reflective assignments that connect workplace experience back to academic concepts. And importantly, internships aren't the only model. Project-based learning can bring the workplace into the classroom. Employers can share real challenges, market analysis, process improvement, program evaluation, design problems, and student teams can tackle them in a course setting, with faculty guidance and employer feedback. This can be especially helpful for students who can't commute, relocate, or carve out a full semester for a traditional internship. Another major pillar is stackable credentials and industry certifications. The classic degree structure can move slower than labor market change. Credentials, when they are high quality and tied to real assessment, can signal specific job-ready skills employers understand immediately. They can also help adult learners upskill in smaller steps rather than committing to a full multi-year program all at once. Workforce-aligned institutions don't just tack on badges for participation. They analyze which certifications actually matter in their region and fields: IT certifications, manufacturing quality credentials, project management, healthcare pathways, and then embed preparation into coursework. Some also recognize prior learning, giving credit for relevant work experience or certifications, which saves time and money and respects what adult learners already know. Now, let's return to equity-centered workforce preparation, because this is not a separate add-on, it's the condition for legitimacy. If workforce alignment just creates great opportunities for students who already have advantage, it fails its promise. Equity-centered design often starts with money, because financial constraints are real barriers. Paid opportunities matter. Stipends matter. Covering certification exam fees matters. Emergency funds for transportation, childcare, or professional clothing can be the difference between a student taking an internship or walking away from it. But equity is also structural. Institutions have to choose employer partners carefully and set expectations around inclusive hiring, mentoring, and workplace culture. Mentorship programs can help students build social capital, especially when mentors share lived experience or understand the specific hurdles first-generation students encounter. And institutions can help students navigate professional norms without implying that students must erase their identities to be professional. The goal is to make the hidden curriculum visible, while also valuing the cultural knowledge and resilience students bring with them. To make any of this sustainable, institutions have to build long-term capacity. One capability is continuous labor market intelligence. If your workforce strategy is based on assumptions from 5 years ago, it's already outdated. Institutions need ways to monitor regional job growth, emerging skills, employer feedback, and program outcomes. That information should inform decisions about new programs, program redesign, and where to invest resources. But responsiveness has to be balanced with long-term education. A purely reactive approach can turn into chasing tools and trends. The smarter approach is to separate durable competencies, like analysis, communication, ethical reasoning, adaptability, from the specific technologies that will change. Then you design curricula around foundations, with flexible modules or electives that can be updated more quickly as tools evolve. Another capacity is distributed leadership with real coordination. Workforce alignment can't sit in one office and it can't depend on a single champion. Yet if everyone is responsible, it's easy for no one to be accountable. Many institutions create a central coordinating function that supports faculty and departments, manages platforms for internships and employer relations, provides professional development, and synthesizes outcome data. The actual learning still happens inside programs and student support units, but the coordination prevents duplication and gaps. And finally, there's data-informed continuous improvement. Institutions need to track participation in career-related experiences, the quality of those experiences, and outcomes like employment, field alignment, and earnings. And they need to break that data down by program and by student demographics, because averages can hide inequities. If certain groups are participating less in internships, or are getting lower quality placements, or have weaker outcomes after graduation, you can't fix what you refuse to measure. Ideally, this data isn't just for external reporting. It becomes a practical tool for improvement, identifying what works, scaling high-impact practices, redesigning weak experiences, and allocating resources where they make the biggest difference, especially for students who face the steepest barriers. When you step back, comprehensive workforce alignment is really a shift in mindset. It says career readiness is not a peripheral service. It's part of the educational design. It's built into the curriculum, the co-curriculum, the partnerships, and the institution's decision-making systems. And if it's done thoughtfully, it supports higher education's broader mission rather than narrowing it. Students can graduate ready for meaningful work and also equipped for citizenship, ethical reasoning, and lifelong learning. Regions gain stronger talent pipelines and economic vitality. Employers get graduates who can do more than follow instructions. They can think, communicate, collaborate, and adapt. The social contract around higher education is changing. Students are investing enormous time and money, and they expect tangible opportunity on the other end. Institutions have an ethical responsibility to help deliver that while also cultivating human flourishing in the bigger sense. Comprehensive, equity-centered workforce alignment is one of the most practical ways to meet those obligations at the same time. If there's one takeaway to leave you with, it's this: colleges don't have to choose between rigor and relevance. The future belongs to the institutions that can integrate both, systematically, transparently, and with equity at the core.